What's up, boxing world? I have two people who want me to cover the same fight, which let me know that I better get this video up, and I'm going to start working on the others. Tony Constanza and Xavier Gomez both want me to cover marvelous Marvin Hagler against Ronald Winky Wright. And I'm going to say this fight takes place at middleweight, of course. What a tremendous fight. Just my opinion, Winky Wright always reminded me a little bit of Marvin Hagler. Winky Wright had great defense, but he was also a rugged southpaw who not only knew how to box, but he could trade and swap punches when he had to, which he did against Jermaine Taylor. And you all know me very well. I don't do the nostalgia thing. I try to stay away from the emotions and the feelings when I'm covering these fights. Not always possible, but I do make an effort. And I understand that I'm putting Ronald Winky Wright against one of the members of the Fantastic Four. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the superhero movie. The Fabulous Four. Fabulous Four. But when that bell rings, it's only two people in there. You can't bring anyone else or anything else in there. So on fight night, your legacy isn't going to fight for you. Your resume isn't going to fight for you. What you bring that night is what you have in the ring with you. So who wins this? Not an easy one to call, but I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to look at both of these fighters. Ronald Winky Wright, very underrated and underappreciated fighter. Ronald Winky Wright was good. He was really good. And he's one of the few fighters I think could have pulled off the big upset against Floyd. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it is what it is. So Ronald Winky Wright, great southpaw, has a great high guard defense, turtle shell defense, as some of us calls it. I believe he had underrated power, and Winky Wright has some of the best timing I've ever seen. And one thing I like about Winky Wright is he bullies you and he pressures you with defense. He comes forward and he pushes you back with his arms up in the high guard defense. And he throws perfectly timed counters off of the high guard defense. And Winky Wright has a great chin when he gets hit. So Ronald Winky Wright was no joke. I knew he was going to beat Felix Trinidad. I really did. I had no doubt that he would pull that off. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. He needs no introduction. Arguably the best middleweight in boxing history. Marvelous Marvin Hagler fought all of his Fabulous Four counterparts, so his resume is solid. If those were the only fights he had on his resume, he's good in my book. Nothing else to prove. Like I said, arguably the best southpaw in the history of boxing. Had a lot of power, didn't mess around. Great pressure fighter, good footwork, great chin. He could switch it up between boxing and brawling. And one advantage that he may have over Winky is that he was a switch hitter. I really don't think it was too beneficial to Hagler, in my opinion. I thought he gave away a lot of the early rounds to Sugar Ray Leonard by opting to fight in the conventional stance. I wouldn't have done that. I would have fought the entire fight in the southpaw stance. So this makes for a good fight because Winky and Hagler both have a lot of the same attributes. Hagler may be a little tougher, but Winky is tough himself. And so this is not the easiest one to call. So I'm trying to think of things that separates these guys. I already mentioned the switch hitting aspect from Marvin Hagler, but Winky Wright does have better defense and better timing, in my opinion. So Marvin Hagler could put the pressure on and Ronald Winky Wright could cover up while waiting on counter opportunities. And Marvin Hagler could be drawn into a brawl. And Winky Wright, he hasn't brawled too much in his career, but that Jermaine Taylor fight, it showed us his brawling abilities, for lack of a better term. I really don't see either guy getting stopped in this fight. Both of these guys are so great, are so skillful, are so tough, are too good of southpaws to be stopped by the other. Like I said, the nostalgia factor will be here because of Marvin Hagler, but realistically, they are evenly matched. I have a heavy Winky Wright bias going into this, but the more I think about it, Marvin Hagler had more of a killer instinct. He was more seasoned, more tested, and fought in a tougher era. Although Winky fought in a tough era as well. It's just those 80s guys were killers. They were savages. And Marvin Hagler was probably the savage of the savages. And so I'm going to say that Marvelous Marvin Hagler comes on strong in the later rounds and gets a decision against Ronald Winky Wright. Love both of these fighters, and those are my thoughts.